You weren't subscribed.
Right.
Are you subscribed now? Because
I still haven't, but I plan to. Okay, well, so I find out I have a brain tumor and I'm going to have surgery. And, you put in Lego characters. Who needs that, really? I mean, when you're looking at a professional, do you really want to see toys?
Let me just first say, this is my father. He is a CPAP user and has been for how many years?
I don't know. You get forgetful when you're on CPAP.
I want to say it's like 10 to 15 years.
Yes.
Roughly.
I'm sure.
Okay, I consider you a very typical CPAP user. Okay, in your own experience, I remember you as being somewhat reluctant to try CPAP and maybe even a little skeptical about the initial diagnosis. Do you remember the night of your sleep study?
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sold, that's for sure. But I guess I recognized it probably was true.
As far as the diagnosis goes?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember your study specifically, you had some problems with it. Do you remember what that was?
I don't. The whole study seemed kind of goofy to me because it seemed like you'd come in and not necessarily you, but somebody would come in and they change the gear and they change the settings, and it was all about I'm trying to sleep in a normal fashion and I'm being awakened frequently.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. So it wasn't pleasant at all.
Right. I actually remember that night mostly because you were my dad. I remember the technician that ran you, who was eventually fired, but had nothing to do with, no, it did have everything to do with his competence, but.
Well, that's what I suspected all along.
But in terms of like the actual experience of being woken up because electrodes fall off and you have to, keep the integrity of the study up, I remember that as being a problem. That's like a fair concern for people to have. But when I was looking at the data, the one thing you can't ignore is when you were asleep, you're having I remember you having just back-to-back hypopneas. Okay. And I even remember do you remember being skeptical of that? Like, I didn't sleep at all that night. Just kept getting interrupted.
Yeah, my memory of it was not good. No, it was just like a lot of interruptions was what it seemed like.
Yeah, but one of the things I remember is I actually burned the data in a way that I could pull it up on a computer outside of work and actually show it to you. And I remember showing you all these back-to-back hypopneas. And even at that point, you still seemed a little like, I'm not so sure. Well, I was like, Dad, this is what I do for a living.
I know.
And you were like, get a new job.
I remember thinking that if I could just sleep so that I'd stay on my side, I'd probably be fine. I didn't really need anything.
But there was a point where you finally, I don't recall this stuff, but you eventually started using CPAP. And how long do you feel like it took you to actually get used to it?
Off the top of my head, I want to say a couple of years. Whether it was that long, I'm not sure. But it seemed like I've been in one long, continuous reevaluation of it, even up to today. I mean, I'm a convert now. I mean, I sleep. There's no nights I sleep without it. I feel like I have to have it. It's just a continuing search for the right mask, I guess, is the way I look at it now. I'm still kind of in that mode,
Yeah.
Can I find the perfect mask, the one that doesn't leave marks on my face and keeps me pretty?
That'd be a shame to waste all that beauty.
I know. Well, when you have it and you have a gift, you don't want to give it up. The way I look at it, when I see people now that have problems or complain about, they don't feel rest and that kind of thing, I'm always like, right now I go to, hey, you need CPAP, probably, you should check it out. So.
Do you remember even when you initially started, you still weren't feeling quite right? And so I looked at your data, your SD card, I grabbed it, looked at the data, and I could tell that you weren't quite on the right pressure. And do you remember making those adjustments? We increased your pressure by, I want to say 3 centimeters of water pressure. And you're like, wow, this is much better.
Yes, and I think I might be on that mode now, because right now I think I'm set to 10. You and I talked about it, and I sort of found a way to adjust and everything, but I never did do the adjustment, partly because I wanted to keep it as low as possible. But I wouldn't be surprised if I need to increase a little bit even now.
Yeah, it's constantly a fight between all the variables of what your pressure is and controlling leaking, and then, like you said, the right mask as well is so important.
So, I mean, it's interesting to me because when I first tried it, I wanted the simplest mask, so I tried the nasal ones and such, and found that my mouth would pop open and I'd be breathing out my mouth and waking up in the middle of the night, and you just couldn't sleep. So I went to full face mask for a while. And now I find I'm having better luck with just the nasal pillow one, I'm not sure what they're called.
Yeah, just a nasal mask.
Nasal mask, yeah. Finally able to keep my mouth shut.
That's
Which my wife says.
a first.
Might be something else.
So how has mom been as far as it goes? Does she like you wearing it, or has she said anything negative about about it?
She really likes it. Her only complaint now is if I get one that blows in her face, like when I turn towards her. And the one I'm on right now, she's not liking for that. But that's the only thing. I mean, she likes that I'm on it because it doesn't, I was snorting and snuffing and I guess making all kinds of noises before. So
Okay, so that reminds me of something else. Do you remember, so your activity level and your energy levels? I remember something you said like really distinctly. It was good to hear. Do you remember about energy levels, what you told me? This is years ago.
yeah, it used to be, I'd come out of just getting up from sleeping supposedly all night, and I'd come out and I'd sit on the couch and fall asleep. Or I'd get out, I'd get up and I'd go run and do a job when I was working still. And I'd come home as soon as I could and I'd sit down and take a nap. And I'd nap throughout the day. I could go visit you and hey, let me go sit down on your couch here. And I'd fall asleep.
But even like now, what you do every Friday.
Now, so I go and I play tennis on Friday. I have a lot of energy, feel pretty good.
And before it was like, you didn't really seem like you had the energy for that kind of stuff.
I do have a lot more energy. I'm able to stay. Well, right now I'm on a medication that, as you know.
Yes. Share it if you want. I'm not going there.
Okay. Okay, well, so I find out I have a brain tumor and I'm going to have surgery, and they're giving me a anti-seizure medication that makes you very drowsy, so I'm super sleepy. So now I have no energy, but
that's besides CPAP.
typically I kind of want to do something. I'm ready to go, and I can spend a few hours of being pretty active, and maybe swimming or playing tennis or whatever, and feel pretty good. I do still take naps.
Which is okay.
Yeah, which is okay.
You're allowed to.
And when I stammer like that, it's because I have a brain tumor.
Very smooth. No folds.
But no folds in my brain.
You said you had a message for people that, I think it was I can't remember if you just described it as a message for people that are on it or not using it, but you said there's a reason for you once you got past that. It was like changing. Do you remember that? You just said it was today.
I have a brain tumor. I can't remember anything. And plus I'm on medication.
You said if people would stop, once you stopped making excuses and finally accepted it and like, all right, I'm going to do this.
It seems to me like in my case, I was totally trying to always find a workaround. I think I can scheme myself out of this. But if I just do this a little differently, that I don't really have to accept the inevitable. Once I went to, I'm fully invested. It's just a matter of finding the right mask and being comfortable each night. I mean, I won't be without it. The thought of even going on a vacation or a trip and everything, I take the machine with me. I might take a couple different masks just so I can swap, if I need to do that. But I mean, this baby is part of my material that I take with me everywhere. I have a brother that has a real serious kind. I can't remember what you call it.
Uncle Dave, yeah. I remember when he first started, he had me look at his data. And I could tell right away, you're on the wrong machine. And then they gave him a different machine, which I said, you need to get an ASV unit. And he said, all they would give me is a bi-level ST. So that's not going to work for your condition. And then sure enough, it didn't work. So he finally got the ASV machine and then has been fine ever since. But yeah.
And I remember him just fighting it. And he'd take the mask and he'd talk about how he tried to use it and wouldn't run it. And after a couple hours, he'd throw it away across the room. And he just fight it. And last time I talked to him about it, it's like, oh yeah, use it every night.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah.
Probably saved my life.
And the one thing I'd say about you and Uncle Dave are you guys, actually the whole family, like you don't give up. You and Mom don't seem like you ever make excuses too much.
I did finally accept it, and I have a son who's pushing me about it every day, and I know basically he's telling me the truth, and I have to kind of figure out a way to make it work and just stay with it. But the problem is there's so many choices out there. That's what I find. There's so many choices, and it changes. It seems like daily. And and I'm not an expert on this stuff. I mean, I can call you about it, but sometimes I don't even know what to ask you. So
That's how I feel with taxes. So
yeah, so it's
glad you're a CPA.
yeah, it's rough. It's rough being on the side of the patient in this case and trying to figure out what's right.
And you don't even know what
And I don't even
ask, right?
And I don't even have a beard. I shave clean every night
Just for that.
so that the mask will fit as well as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I used to shave in the morning. Now I shave at night.
Yeah.
And it's all because of that.
So you've adapted your life to a little bit, not like a ton, right? But you've adapted to using it.
No, sometimes I even shave twice.
Ooh.
It's wild and crazy.
Ooh.
I know.
I think that just about does it. That pretty much covers it. But is there anything else you want to say?
I sat in the hospital a couple days ago, and I was across from a guy. He's about 30 feet away from me. This poor guy was fighting and struggling, and I felt sorry for him. I mean, I actually wanted to do something for the guy. I don't know if he's on sleep, sleep equipment, or whether it's just unrecognized, and that's just how he spends his life. But he was fighting it like you never saw, and it just looked so painful.
It is.
I mean, he just.
That's the one thing I wish I could show people. Like in the lab, you see it every single night, but yet at the same time, it's not like you can just record. You can't just record patients and upload it.
No,
but it really is like the worst thing to see. Someone with apnea.
It was, and I should say we were in a facility where, because of COVID, it was like in a warehouse.
Yeah.
And on either side of us, there's a woman on this side of me, a woman on this side of me, and the guy across, every one of them was snoring. And I'm pretty sure, because I didn't have my equipment with me, that when I went to sleep, I was snoring too. And when I talked to one of the nurses in there, they said, oh, the one thing we learned first thing was working here is that everybody has sleep apnea. So I believe it. Get on the equipment and make yourself better, and you'll feel better. And I'm a convert.
Fair enough.
And I thank my son here for pushing me to do it. And he didn't stop pushing. So
I'm like a cheerleader.
Well, I don't know about that. You were kind of obnoxious, actually, but you kind
For
of
a reason. Because I love my father.
Well,
I can be annoying.
that's not what he said then, though. Might have even said some curse words.
Maybe. I have to flex to what I need to get the message across.
Anyway, so thank you, son.
I appreciate it. You're my dad. So this is the mask I told you I'd bring you. And then this one as well.
Oh,
So that's the Sweat Effects Nano, and that is the Avora.
this is the Nano.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the
Avora. So nasal mask.
Is this a new one? Or?
Was released last week.
Oh, wow. So it's similar to that little Dreamwear? Or?
It's similar to,
Well, I guess
it's more similar to, probably the Dreamwear, but I would still say it's not like that. It's similar to like you wouldn't know it, but the N30. It's just it's kind of an under the nose cushion mask.
Oh,
But
maybe
it's good. I had a lot of success with it. So
maybe I'll try this one tonight. Cool.
Oh, I forgot one more thing. I totally forgot this. But I'm glad we're still recording. So I cut all that other stuff.
Oh, I didn't.
No. That wasn't supposed to be part of it. So you do watch my videos, sort of.
Yes.
But you weren't subscribed.
Right.
Are you subscribed now? Because
I still haven't, but I plan to.
You haven't subscribed.
No, I plan to.
Hit the bell notification, and you're supposed to get all the notifications every time I upload.
Okay.
So you can be bored by all of this stuff.
All right. Will do.
I can bore you by email.
Well, I'm interested in my son's accomplishments and
Right.
what he works about. I really am. Sometimes, frankly, they bore me a little bit. They go a little long. You put in Lego characters. Who needs that, really? I mean, when you're looking at a professional, do you really want to see toys?
I do.
I'm not sure I do.
I totally do.
Okay. So we agree to
So
disagree.
you sound like many of my trolls. To which I say,
I might be one of your trolls.
I know you probably opened up a separate account, which you also didn't subscribe from.
Well, I like seeing my son because, he never drops in. So, I never visit. So it's a matter of, if you want to see your son, you got to see him somehow,
I probably see you like 4 times a week.
Okay.
What, you more? All right, then.
All right. Well, thank you, sir.
Anytime.
Thank you to anyone watching this video, but an extra special thank you to my top-level Patreon supporters. Thanks, buddy, to Alan Liu, Stuart Heffington, and Mona Swearingen. Thank you, and thanks, buddy. please consider using my Amazon affiliate link down in the description box below. I clicked the link and added some items that I need, like some Canadian sphagnum peat moss, cause
I've grown a blueberry.
I even got some replacement filters for my fridge because my family will never understand hose water. And I had to get a replacement screw for my Stay Right pool filter because I discovered I have very strong forearms and I am still a
Thick boy.
Well, damn, if you can't go to Better No Chase, what the hell could you go?
Stick it out. Even white boys got the shout. Baby got back.